Kevin Roth here of Rotogrinders, and today we're going to talk about the RG Discord. If you're not a member, you should be. It is a fantastic community and resource that Rotogrinders provides, and it's easy to join as well. All you have to do is click the Discord icon on Rotogrinders or go to rotogrinders.com/Discord. From there, you'll either sign up if you're new to RG, or if you're already a member, just click the link at the top to go to the sign-in page. Once you've logged into your RG account, you can be taken to Discord to log in there. Once you've connected those accounts, you won't have to leave the server. You can freely close out and reopen Discord without ever having to reconnect. The idea of Discord might be a little bit daunting to you, but it's actually pretty simple to navigate. Whether you're on mobile or desktop, the far left side will show you the Discord servers that you've already joined. Then next to that, you'll see the channels within that Discord. We have both free channels like Chiefs Prop Shop and our daily sport channels, and we also have premium channels like Blender's Game Theory or the Crunch Time channels. Premium members can see the difference between the free and premium channels by looking for a padlock icon next to the premium channel names. We also have a few pointers for new and experienced users alike. If you're having trouble finding a channel, make sure that you haven't collapsed the section that the channel is in. Collapsing a channel will only allow it to appear when there are unread messages in that channel. Also, we find that using the actual Discord program works better than opening it in a browser like Safari or Chrome. Lastly, if you're having trouble with one of our tools, your Rotogrinders account, or any other technical needs, you can hop in our feedback and help section of channels to get help from one of our wonderful support and moderation team members. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on Twitter @Rotogrinders or email support@rotogrinders.com. See you in Discord.
What is up, Rotogrinders? Dean here. That is Dean 7904. That is daily fantasy handle that hopefully is lurking around first place this evening. If not me, maybe myself or Kirk Dees at Kirk Dees on the old Twitter machine. Twitter hot these days with Kirk Dees' hot takes over there. Lots of fun there with the Gilmore Girls last night. And Justin Carlucci, the J Carlucci. Is that what we're talking about here? Is that the Twitter handle, Justin?
Yeah, that's it. But man, you don't want me to lurk around first place either. That's some cold stuff.
Well, you're on the podium, you know.
All right. I'll take third. It's a glorified steak knife is like third, right? So we'll take it.
Well, why is it not the Luch? Why is that not your Twitter handle, the Luch, as opposed to the J Carlucci?
I don't know. Should I try to? Should we like get some momentum going and just try to change it?
Well, I mean, it's just you're the Luch, right? And like then it's like, oh, now I'm gonna look up the Luch and I can't find you on Twitter. It's a whole thing, and
I'm sorry.
You know. I just
sorry,
I'm your Twitter account. I'm
so complicated.
Don't let Dean belittle you in your Twitter handle. Like seriously.
I'm not belittled.
I felt like maybe I'd be the one guy an RG that's in Dean's corner, but now he's like rubbing me the wrong way here.
Well, you've heard
my Twitter handle.
You heard he's a sexist. I hope you heard that. He's a sexist.
I think you may have heard that. It's not true.
Chop confirmed it, as a matter of fact.
I've heard a lot of things.
I am staying out of this one, fellas.
Wait, what were you saying, Luch? A lot of people in RG are not in my corner. You're the last one standing in my corner.
No, why? Now you're putting words in my mouth. Those are the vibes we're getting. I mean, people are like, putting serious allegations tied with your name here, Dean, and I'm not one of them. So, but man, the J Carlucci just went for like the first initial last name thing. But maybe I'll try to change it. That's a good call. I'll try to change
you agree with this? You're just come on, the J Carlucci. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's only my name. It's fine, right? I don't know.
But no, I was seriously like it's whatever he wants. That's the beauty of it. You get to pick your own Twitter handle. So whatever he wants, I'm fine with. Unlike you, who has an opinion and to try to belittle his usage of the name here.
And yours, like, I don't even know your first name. I think that's your last name. I'm sure I know your first name.
Me, my first name's Kirk, last name is Dees. You know?
No, is that really true? No, that's not true.
I'm not sure who to thank or who to be mad at with this conversation, but I appreciate Kirk sticking up for me. And
I'm in your corner, Luch.
All right.
I'm in your corner too.
All right.
Help me help you.
Will help me tonight with this slop fest of a 12 gamer we have on, man, because I think we need to put our heads together here and figure this one out. I was like finishing up a bunch of stuff, and I didn't write NBA today. And when I opened up Rotogrinders today, I'm like, Anthony Davis is 7,600. That is that's something. So I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's jumping off the page on FanDuel. You know, he's like 9K on DK. He's still playable over there. Of course, LeBron's not going to give it a go tonight. Writing's on the wall. The Lakers are donezo. San Antonio, their magic number is 2 as far as combined wins, and I believe Laker losses. There's like 3 games left for both sides. Phoenix, I have a take on that. I actually wrote it up for scores and odds today. I think Phoenix really, really wants to punch the Lakers straight out of the playoffs tonight. That doesn't mean the San Antonio wins tonight. I guess they officially the only way the Lakers are eliminated is San Antonio wins, and they're kind of big dogs tonight. But yeah, I got to take as far as Phoenix just pummeling the Lakers tonight without LeBron. Actually, tell the people, Luch, what you're doing. You do a lot of stuff, do a lot of different content, and there's an article that's going to be coming soon. Tease the people. What is it?
Yeah, so we're really ramping up the content for free on Scores and Odds. So we do have good stuff over there. Tim's been writing a lot of good stuff. Tasteful Tides, Keith with his icebreaker articles, both giving some free picks and props plays. A lot of great golf content between Joe, STL, and Noto. So my hand's been in a lot of that as well. And we have a great team over there, but we're going to get together a climb the ladder article, the Desmond Bain article, if you will. So we're going to look for a base prop and, hit those plus odds. And, with MLB basically here, which is awesome. And guys, I wasn't so sure that I'd be saying those words about a month ago. So I can't wait for the season to kick off on Thursday. Looking forward to looking at some pitching props at some crazy odds and maybe some multi RBI, multi hit games here. So I'm glad that you're willing to be a part of that, Dean. You've been on the Desmond Bain train this year, and you've hit some totals. With SGA has been a big winner for us pretty frequently on most nights. So that should be a lot of fun. The people like plus odds, so we're gonna give it to them.
I wrote up kind of a ladder today, actually, with the Lakers losing to Phoenix, and I just think you can get some fun alt lines with the Suns. So that's what I was. That was my pick today. They're minus 13. I like that, but I like them like minus 17, minus 20, minus 25. Just I think they're gonna shellac them. But you were saying Curtis.
I was gonna say, Luch, hit me up. I'm gonna start getting involved in Scores and Odds after when I gave a double dip winner to the people. I'm batting 1,000 on that site right now. So Devin can confirm that.
Cool.
It just hit me, by the way, Chris Kirkwood. Now that's your name. I don't know why it took me so long. I'm like, I know it's not Kirk Dees. Like, I know your name.
It's literally on his Zoom every time he logs in his room, I think.
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize I was cheating. You're right. Yeah, he doesn't. There you go. Yeah, I wasn't. Now I wasn't cheating.
You got this.
Kirk Dees, big old slate. This is the biggest slate we have till Sunday. I'm so thankful I'm not on content on Sunday. 15 games on Sunday. They're spread out throughout the day, I believe. But so everybody plays on Sunday. As far as today, it's a 12 gamer. Then it starts to get a little bit easier. 6 tomorrow. 7 on Thursday, 9 on Friday. Thursday and Friday, baseball is starting. Good time to mention, by the way, for baseball. If you guys want baseball a la carte, just want baseball content for whatever reason, you get RG ML Premium, the monthly subscription right now, $10 off your first 2 months. Not just the first one, $10 off, but $10 off your second month as well. Dave Potts, Cheese is Good. He released his article today. That's when the season officially started. I've not had a chance to read it. I'm excited. There is weather also lurking on Thursday and Friday. Apparently, weather's going to be a big issue. Of course, you're going to get Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, all his weather stuff, Weather Edge. You get Crunch Time with Ross on. He gives you his definitive calls as far as weather-wise. You're going to want to get in on that as well. So, baseball, super, super excited. Curtis, you're doing baseball content, I assume, yes?
Yep, I got some conviction plays, rankings, and I'm going to be shipping everything this year. I plan. That's the plan anyway.
And your weather model, is it patent pending?
It's still patent pending. It's still in beta. It's got some good data coming out soon. It's nice. I think it's going to be a big edge for me this season. Really,
You
really.
think it's going to somehow threaten Ross' weather edge? Or how is it different?
Some people are saying, but this is all off the record. So
Which people are saying this?
I can't quite. A lot of non-disclosure agreements have been signed, and can't really get to that. But I'm so psyched for that. I'm so psyched for Cheese. Cheese's article is already up. The Musings. I'm going to be reading it tonight. I can't wait to start thinking about it. I'm so sick of NBA, even though we're doing this show today. Cade Cunningham just really left a bad taste in my mouth on Friday. It was nice to have the Monday off and to watch some quality basketball last night. That was great. What a great game that was. Hell of a game, right, Luch?
Yeah. My bad. I was reading something and I wasn't listening to a word you said, Kirk. But
hell of a game.
I promise I'll be more engaged as we move.
No, it's okay. I was just saying the college basketball game. Hell of a game last night.
Unreal. Unreal. You know what? I was back in Kansas -4, so I was a little frustrated when the foot stepped on the line there at the end. But just as a fan of the tournament, saw a lot of takes on Twitter that it was a bad tournament, but you can't make everybody happy. I thought it was great. I was in Atlantic City for the Duke UNC game at Bally Sportsbook, the FanDuel Sportsbook, by the way, and that was awesome. That was really cool. So I thought it was a fun tournament. My girlfriend actually won our bracket pool, who I didn't help at all. So that's about that. She took Kansas over Duke. Kudos to her.
There you go.
I know absolutely nothing. So there's that. But yeah, what a great couple of games here. UNC Duke, and then the championship game. Everybody in Twitter land labeled it dead at halftime. But man, what a damn finish we had. That was awesome.
Yeah, there's two halves in basketball. Obviously, the game's not over at halftime. Like, it'd be silly to pronounce the game to be over.
Dean, you're a big fan of the NCAA tournament, aren't you? Judging by your tweets.
Which do you like better, the Luch's Twitter handle or college basketball?
Choose wisely. I think I'm the Zoom host. I could just boot you out of here. No, I'm not.
The Luch's Twitter handle, I would say. I didn't get a chance to watch the game last night. I was busy watching a foreign film. I watched an Indonesian foreign film called Photographer. It's pretty good.
Oh, that sounds riveting. I'd much rather watch that. Yeah.
Instead of watching the national championship game. Oh, we should mention as well, but we're going to dive in and talk about the slate. And again, it's a 12 gamer, but there's a lot of games. A lot of teams are like, this is nonsense, or moving on. We'll break down the stuff that's mostly important, but I promise you we'll get it all in. Do want to say what's up to those of us still sticking with the NBA. Shout out to y'all grinding this last week of the season with us. Do hit that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications on YouTube. And hey, join our Discord as well, rotogrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. That's where we're hanging out as well. Either way, if you guys are commenting, you are asking questions, producer Devin is lurking. He's going to pull your questions, throw them my way, and I will regurgitate them on your behalf and ask these fine gentlemen the questions regarding the slate. It is Masters Week. For that reason, we have a PGA season pass. Now, we should mention as well, just like baseball, you can do the combo platter. You get all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, all the colleges, MMA, golf, the fringe stuff, F1, everything with the exception of NASCAR. You can do it that way. Combo platter, you get everything. Or you can get baseball a la carte, like we were talking about, or you can get golf a la carte. If you want golf a la carte, nothing else, just golf, now will be the time to get it, because it's normally $399 smackers. Now it's $199.99 PGA season pass, celebrating the Masters Week. All right, Kirkies, what do you have as far as tonight's slate? 12 games. We know there's tons of body parts that we're monitoring. Actually, stuff might fall that we're not really well aware of, but goofiness is abound. Some teams are tanking. Some teams are tanking organically. The biggest cheapie on this slate, the biggest value at this point currently is Trey Jones running the point for San Antonio. What do you have before we're going to dive in and break it down game by game? Any sort of overarching slate thoughts?
Well, yeah. So, we still have some news to monitor. It's nothing crazy too bad, right? We got the big news, or at least for people on FanDuel, is Anthony Davis playing, and it was nice to get that ahead of time. So we know that Zach LaVine is heading to probably not playing tonight. Woj sent out a tweet today that he's not expected to play. So that's kind of big. We got J-Val, which could be some kind of big. I don't know. I don't really have a take on that, whether he's going to suit up or not. And then maybe Brandon Williams, but then, and obviously the Pacers situation, we got TJ McConnell popped up on the report, like maybe he's actually going to play tonight. Malcolm Brogdon's been on there forever. He's not going to play. We've got a lot of tanking teams. We've got some good game environments. We've got some cheap prices. We've got some massive ownership plays. Trey Jones is going to be extremely high owned. So I'm looking like 60+% on DraftKings, I'm thinking. So we got to make a decision on that, but that seems like awfully good chalk, at least the way he's been playing recently, and the fact that they just don't really have any other, point guards. I mean, I guess Jay Rich is going to be a good play too in this game, I think. But yeah, that's I think it's all comes down to which studs tonight. Like really, I think we've got a bunch of good studs, and I kind of like them all. And I'm speaking about Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. And then I also love, like, just a little bit below that, I love Cat tonight. So I think that's what's really going to shape this slate. And then, layering in which value.
Yeah, it's stud laden. Then a lot of them are well positioned. Several of them have motivation. The TJ McConnell thing, I cracked up when I saw he was questionable. He hasn't played like in 3 months. Indiana's been in full tank mode for like a while now. It's a revenge game. It's so weird. Like, why would they play him? But maybe they do. I don't know. Can't imagine he plays much. Centers are awesome tonight. I was doing my rankings earlier today, and like I had to cut some guys out. Like I can't even get in the top 8. But center is really, really strong. There's a big opportunity cost that I think it's worth pointing out. We'll kind of talk about Jokic and Bede are both go, and there's several guys. You mentioned Valanciunas, who currently is questionable. New Orleans, their spot is basically locked in, so I don't know if they'll push them. We'll see. Luch, what do you have as far as anything you want to add as far as a slate before we kind of dive in and break it down game by game?
Yeah, I think I did the morning grind with Keith last night, and just some big price discrepancies, especially with Minnesota. Cat's 8,300 on FanDuel. What's happening here? D'Angelo Russell's 5,300, coming off 2 very good games with 35-ish minutes, and both of them too against Washington. It's not like they're playing a gauntlet either. So there's some pricing discrepancies. So it makes things even more difficult, on the 12 gamer. And I'm sure there'll be a couple more surprises. There's some late news, and I'm trying to catch up a little more here, but I don't think we have all of it. Valanciunas had the Q tag earlier. Not sure if we heard about that yet. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but
he's got a Q still. As far as
yeah. So I mean, like Jackson Hayes is 4,300. Hernan Gomez has been priced. So I mean, you could get some leverage. I mean, is Phoenix going to rest anybody? I don't know. Potentially. I don't know. Did you get a read on that? I know you wrote.
I do have a read in that because they rested their guys on Sunday.
Okay.
And
not all of them though, right? Not all of them.
They rested their key guys, like their main guys, like Paul and Ayton and Booker. I believe all 3 rested on Sunday. Of course, nobody played on Monday. Tonight they get to pummel the Lakers and basically eliminate them. And tomorrow they're versus the Clippers, and tomorrow they're going to rest guys. That's my thought process.
Sounds about right. Healthy team total there too, 122.25. So you have to like that matchup too.
All right, let's dive in. Let's break it down game by game. And again, we can only focus on the. Let's stick to the main stuff. There's some games and there's some teams where it's just like, no, you guys feel free to say otherwise, but we can pick our spots. You're supposed to like your lineups tonight on a 12-game slate. You don't necessarily have to be super ambitious. Very first game on the slate, Indiana. Indiana is facing Philadelphia. They're 235 as far as the total. Philadelphia is an 11-point favorite in Indiana. Philly is, I believe they are fully healthy, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they're fully healthy. Yeah. Indiana is not, or at least they're saying they're not. Mcconnell is questionable. Brogdon is questionable. I imagine both of those guys don't play, but we'll see. Gogo Batadze also questionable with his foot. Does anybody want to make an argument for a pacer?
Well, I mean, I'm not prioritizing Pacers. Yeah. But I'm trying to pull them up here. Hold on. But Isaiah Jackson's really cheap, I believe. And Goga, do we have Goga news yet? No, he has a Q tag. So,
yeah,
I mean,
he's been Q a lot and then playing
yeah,
for what it's worth.
I mean, if he sits, Jackson's going to get a minutes bump. And, we've seen him rake before. So, I don't hate Isaiah Jackson. I also think Buddy's kind of a contrarian look. He's a little bit cheaper on FanDuel. We're still projecting him for 35 minutes. And if Brogdon's definitely out and McConnell's definitely out, because we do have McConnell projected for a couple of minutes tonight. I kind of like Buddy. I mean, the Sixers love getting gashed by shooters. I don't know why. And they do let teams hang around. That's my short list. I don't hate the Halliburton idea. He's a little more expensive on DK. Again, I don't think I'm prioritizing any of these guys, but I definitely would maybe have a couple of mini stacks if you're running a bunch of Embiid.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Indiana's been doing a fabulous job of losing. They've lost 7 straight games in a row. So they're down to the 5th worst team in the league as far as the tankathon. Curtis, feel free to add your thoughts on Indiana. And I agree, you can kind of sprinkle those guys. And yeah, if you distribute some of those McConnell minutes to, if Brogdon's out as well, Halliburton in theory has a 50-point game in him. But, this game is Harden and it's Embiid, right? And then when you talk about Embiid, he should absolutely shellac, pummel, whatever your adjective of choice is versus whatever they're throwing him at on Indiana. He should crush. If he's still making a push at MVP, he could put up an MVP style of game. Of course, you got to compare him to Jokic. Jokic is on this slate, and then different positions, but Durant is also on the slate, and Giannis is on this slate. So, where do you have Embiid ranked here, Curtis?
I have him ranked very highly tonight. I love Embiid tonight. He might be my favorite overall play, to be honest with you. So one thing that I'll bring up about the Pacers here is that you look at how they've played recently. They've played tough games, right? Besides, let's not even talk about Detroit, but the 3 before that, Boston, Denver, and Atlanta. All 3 teams have had something to play for, for the playoffs. Those games were all close. Yes, they lost. So they lost all those games, but they kept it close. And Tyrese Halliburton has been going nuts and keeping them in games. And he's a guy that I'm interested in tonight. I actually agree. I agree with Luch here on Buddy. I like Buddy a lot because I actually think that they'll probably put Tybal on Halliburton, and Buddy will love to just, he'll get the pass and he'll love to just chuck him up. Now, whether he's efficient or not, that's DFS, right? We just want the opportunity, and I think he'll have it. So I definitely would like to run back one of those guys with Embiid, but I think Embiid is going to smash. It might be like one of those like Joker situations where like he got value at halftime, right? Like he's like got like 48 fantasy points at halftime, and then like the second half is all gravy. And if it blows out, it blows out. But I like him a lot. The only other guy I would consider would be Terry Taylor. If I'm not, I wouldn't mind a couple of shares of Harden tonight as well. Obviously, you probably can't, but you don't play him with Embiid anyway. But this could be a good matchup for him. But I love Embiid, just a sprinkle of Harden.
I don't hate Maxey at 5.3 on FanDuel. I think that's not a terrible price. I don't hate it, $19 on Yahoo necessarily. But Luch, what do you have as far as your Sixers? You have a final thought as far as the studs there, or anything you want to add?
Yeah, the Harden thing, like he's had 5 straight games with usage under 30, and he's a guy with a career 30% usage rate. At the flip side, from a real life perspective, it's cool that he's willing to take a slight backseat and let Embiid just impose his dominance. Whatever ego or power struggles some people were speculating, that's not the problem with the Sixers. There's plenty of other problems. So I get it. Harden can do his thing any given night, but on such a big slate, I think I'm siding with Embiid. Just from like a build perspective, I think I'm about to just group. I'm about to separate Buddy and Halliburton. I'm not sure that I want them together in my personal opinion here. But I do think either one of them could be fine. I'm not sure who Matisse is going to mainly be on, but I want the other guy for sure. I think if I had a lean, Kirk's probably right. It'll probably be a lot of Halliburton because he's the slasher and the playmaker. There is a little bit of narrative-y stuff here too. There was a billion rumors of Buddy going to the Sixers one way or another the past like year and a half. And for some reason, him and Doc are boys too. He seems to get those shots up when they play Philly. And of course, that's just narrative garbage. But I'm with it. That's pretty much it. And I don't have a ton of interest out of the guys outside of the guys we talked about. Although I will say Maxey at 5,300, the Pacers are terrible. He could have one of those games. But again, I don't think I would want to group him with Embiid. I'd much rather run it back with someone on the other side.
The only other 7:00 game, Cleveland, motivated to try and move up to the 6th spot, but doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Toronto's a couple of games ahead of them. 221 is the total against Orlando. Orlando 8-point dogs, fully tanking, doing their absolute best to lose, doing a fabulous job. Orlando has lost 6 games in a row, and now they're tied with Houston in the tankathon. So they do not want to win again. Of course, that's reflective in the guys they're rolling out for this game. Cole Anthony's got a toe. Franz Wagner is questionable. Suggs is questionable. The one guy on the Orlando side that's like popping, which I hate, is Bo Wagner, especially if we lose some more bodies. Like we saw again, you're rewarded for the worse you play, the more you're rewarded. And like Ignas Brazdeikis got like 35 to 40 minutes the other day, and he's been horrendous. But again, they want to lose. They're going to lose. I think they are. We'll see. I don't want to mess with this team, Kirk Dees, but like there's a chance I might play some Wagner, and I hate that.
Yeah, I just hate the fact that he's going to be extremely owned tonight, right? Like he's popping and everybody's projections, he's popping. So yeah, I'm not excited about him either. I would play him if it fits and I like my overall lineup. But the only thing that stinks about this is like I would love to play like a Markelle Fultz now if things break right, but like he just, he's going to be on capped minutes, right? Like maybe they give him one extra minute tonight than he's gotten, so he gets with a 23. I think he could be fine, but like it's just, the ceiling's just not there. So I really don't know what Orlando's going to do. I don't feel good about any of it. So I don't really like any of these guys. And I don't like a chalky Mo Wagner doesn't sound very appealing to me.
It doesn't. But again, he's going to grab he might draw the start if his brother Franz is ruled out. So we're giving 26 minutes to Suggs, 28 to Franz. And again, stuff might get pulled out. Like if he's playing too well, like they'll yank him out of the game if they're winning. Like we've seen that stuff before as well at Orlando. They'll close with 5 bench guys to a lot of it's game dependent. You don't know if they're winning or losing. If they're losing, whatever, the tank take care of itself. But just understand that's how this goes sometimes. We saw Detroit, you referenced it, Kirk Dees. Detroit played 6 guys the other day and still won against OKC. I think it was against OKC, like 8 minutes for Cunningham, 8 minutes for Beef Stew, and everybody else. Was it 6 guys? That's right, Kirk Dees, right? I think so. Essentially.
It was, I don't know. I was so annoyed.
It's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
If you have anything to add, by all means, but we don't want to double up and just kind of saying the same thing here, Justin. We only have so much time. Feel free to add something if you want on Orlando or jump over to Cleveland.
Yeah, Orlando got thumped against New York last time out. They had 8 guys play at least 18 minutes, so that's not fun. But like Bamba and Wagner closed that game as they were getting throttled. So they're just throwing darts here. They're just throwing different lineup combinations out there, and it's kind of maddening. Like Chuma only played 19 minutes. But our guy Brazdeikis, there's the first one of the night. He played 37 minutes. He started and closed. So he's not really projecting well, but if these other guys are getting ruled out, I think he's kind of sneaky. Anybody that plays 37 minutes on this slate, or has upside to do so, I'm kind of interested in. So we'll leave it at that and move on, I guess.
But again, my theory is Bamba closed because they were down 30. It's okay. They want, if they're losing, you're more likely to get more minutes if you're a better player. That makes sense. If they're ahead, they're getting the hook. That's what I've noticed.
I love that, by the way. They're doing a fabulous job at losing. That's my favorite. You're
They're incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that complimentary. So again, this is another one you kind of mentioned it at the top, Luch, as far as depending on where you're shopping. The Levert price on FanDuel is making him incredibly popular. He's appropriately priced on DK. On FanDuel, Levert is, I think, 5.4, and we're looking at 38 fantasy point projected and a 49% ownership. That's insane. That might go down depending on news and yada yada. And your boy Laurie, I'll leave that one for you, is also looking to get a pretty good projection as well. 16% as far as ownership. DK, it's a different story as far as Cleveland. Marketing is 16%, Levert 14%, but other than that, Garland's awesome, but he's super expensive. If you want to play him, by all means have at it. You can get there, but I don't know if I will. Thoughts?
Yeah, you're right. Big price discrepancies here. Love Levert's price on FanDuel. But I think he's a fine tournament play in DK as well. I know it's a big slate and he's 7K, but I don't mind that. The minutes are there finally. Like we're getting 35 minutes out of this guy. They're in the 7 seed. I don't know how many games do they have left. I don't think they can. They need a miracle to move up. Yeah,
they're pretty much locked in the 7.
So I mean, but I guess technically Atlanta could pass them. But I don't know. I think Levert's a great play tonight, and my guy Mark Kennan. Whenever he's in those maybe that should be my Twitter handle. At Mark Kennan, my alter alias. But whenever he's in that mid-5 range, I mean, he's in play. And you know what? I've been looking at Kevin Love props the last week or so, disappointed with his minutes output, despite Jared Allen and Mobley. He's just not playing a ton. And that stinks because he's a great fantasy point per minute guy. But that Laurie's getting those minutes and Kevin Love is not. So I think that's something to monitor too. And you're right, Darius Garland going to come in super low. We know he has 50+ point upside, and they're in a great matchup here. So it might actually be a time to take advantage of that sticker shock in like large field tournaments and see if Garland could get there.
Yeah, and you say 50+ points, like say he puts up 50, great. Do you need that? No. Is it going to hurt you? Probably not. It's just fine. Like you need 50 out of the guy at his price, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to add here, Kirkwood?
Yeah, Levert is also cheap, stupid cheap on Yahoo, $22 over there. So he's in play, and he's in play on FanDuel, obviously, at that price. We got to talk about Moses Brown. This seems like a perfect game for him. We saw that he had 30-minute upside the other night. The minutes I'm not extremely confident in them, but I think I lean to him getting a good amount of minutes in this game tonight. And so a matchup against Orlando where they're, trying to lose, and it's just going to be a sloppy game. I think he could really go off here. So I like him on all sites, to be honest.
My rebuttal to that, by the way, is kind of what I said at the top of the show. The opportunity cost at center, especially in a site where FanDuel, you only get one, and there's value everywhere. And there's Jokic, and there's Embiid, and there's Cat, and there's Davis. You probably play him at forward, but you know what I mean? That's the problem for me, Kirk Dees.
Yep, I get it more on FanDuel for sure, but you can certainly use him on DraftKings and on Yahoo tonight.
Yeah, center only on DK. He needs to put up like 4.8. Yeah, he has to put up at least like 32, 33, right, to be useful. He can. That's what he's got to put up, right? At least
he could go for 40 tonight.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, I'll echo. I like Markkanen a little bit. He would be the one other guy, but yeah, let's go.
All right. Atlanta, Toronto, 226 is the total. Atlanta's a 5-point dog here. Two teams, that are still battling. Atlanta's got a shot to host that 7-8 game. They have to, ward off the Hornets and the Nets. And Toronto looks like they're basically going to get that 6, but this will kind of put that nail in the coffin, I think, for Cleveland. So both teams that are motivated. OG Anunoby is questionable here. As far as Atlanta, we do have a couple guys that are worth monitoring as well, as far as Gallinari being questionable and Bogdanovich being questionable. Kirk Dees, this is a tricky one because two teams that are motivated more so than most, but a game that's just like totally ignored as far as I can tell.
Yeah, for sure. So the one warning, so this is a meaningful game, like you said, for playoff implications. But it's really not super meaningful. But It also Toronto has been playing extremely good defense. They're actually number 1 in defensive rating over the last 15 games. Like, it seems like they're really gearing up for playoffs here from the defensive end. They love to do the trap. So I think they'll probably try to take away Trey as best you can. So I would kind of try to galaxy brain, like who that might benefit the most. So the pricing is tough on all these guys. So it's like no one will play bogey. And if Gallo and Gallo's questionable, right? And so is
Bogey.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say that like Gallo's out and Bogey plays, that I'd give more of a bump. If Bogey plays in general, he'd be like the really super low owned sneaky play that I would want some of. Maybe Kevin Harder. Clint Capella is actually a decent play, but again, there's just a lot of really good center plays. So he's kind of in that middle range. I don't know how big of ceiling he has in this spot, with the way that they've been playing D. So I'm lukewarm on him, but yeah, there's nothing else other than that.
What do you have, Luch?
Yeah, I have similar thoughts. I was getting to Toronto's great defensive stretch lately too. Huge slate. I know Trey has the upside, but I just don't know if this is the matchup. I don't know if I'm willing to prioritize them on this slate. I do think OG's questionable tag is interesting, and Scotty Barnes is 6,400. So another pricing discrepancy, I believe, between sites. So Barnes has been playing pretty good basketball lately anyway, kind of hovering around that 5 to 6 times value, and OG could open up a couple more looks and opportunities there against Atlanta, who have been struggling against athletic forwards the last couple of seasons here. Toronto, pretty healthy team total, 115.25. So Van Fleet is also affordable, and he's been getting there with steals and blocks lately, like a ton of them. So it's not my favorite thing to do, but at his FanDuel price, he has a really high floor. And if you get 50 out of Van Fleet, at 7,400, you might be okay here. So, I like these Raptors more than the Hawks in this one. And Gary Trent is really cheap, 5,100, regardless of OG status. It's not my favorite. He's pretty scoring dependent, but if OG's out, that's a really nice price tag on Gary Trent. And with the size of this slate, I don't think they're going to carry a ton of ownership. Right now, we don't have anybody over 10.5% on FanDuel. So super interesting here with the Raptors.
Yeah, Trent currently at 10% on FanDuel. Like you said, the next guy is FEV at 8%. He's got a pretty good price tag there as well. And DK, even less owned. Trent's got a higher price. He's 8%, and Capella at less than 3%. Like, just this game is really getting ignored. It can change a little bit, if some guys are ruled out that we're talking about, but let's move on, power on through. Next game, Washington, Minnesota, 238 is the total. That's a big boy number. Minnesota, 13-point favorites here against Washington. Minnesota is motivated. They have a chance to jump out of that 7 play-in nonsense and steal a spot from the Jazz. The Jazz are sputtering. They're infighting, just one game behind them. Washington is in that weird spot. We're just kind of playing out the string that, they're not really threatening for ping pong balls. And of course, they're not threatening for any sort of playoff nonsense. As far as the body parts, Kuzma's still out for Washington, and Minnesota. They have Beasley expected back with his ankle. McDaniels and Beverly are both questionable. Luch, you kind of mentioned it. Cat on FanDuel specifically is really, really cheap over there. It's just a matter of, again, you play Cat, you're not playing Jokic, you're not playing Embiid. And, you can make up the points elsewhere in theory, but how do you feel about Cat tonight and the rest of the T-Wolves?
Yeah, I mean, it's an elite matchup. The Wizards just get pounded by bigs, and Cat's put up nearly 50 FanDuel points in back-to-back games. I just don't understand the 8,300 price tag. I know he's at a rough week stretch, but just before that, he had an 81 on the game log and a 51, and you try not to game log him, but we all know that he has elite upside, and he's in a premier matchup here. So I think on FanDuel, I'm willing to have Cat shares, knowing that I'm not getting Jokic, knowing that I'm not getting Embiid. On the flip side, though, there's a chance that the Indy Philly game and the Denver San Antonio game are both blowouts, and maybe one of them don't. I mean, that has to be in the cards there. Technically, all 3 of these games could be thumping, But I love the price on Cat on FanDuel. I don't think I'm as interested on DK. But I think I'd be okay with 50 out of him on FanDuel, and he's pretty much got there the last 2 games. I know one was against Houston, but the previous game he had Denver. D'Angelo Russell's just too cheap. He could have an average game and still probably be fine in most contest formats at 5,300. I believe Pat Beverly has a Q tag. I'm not sure what his status is. If he doesn't sit, I'll like Russell even more. So I think you definitely need some Minnesota exposure here on FanDuel.
Yeah, Beverly's still questionable. I expect him to play for what it's worth. And the FanDuel price, again, D'Angelo Russell at 5.3 is pretty goofy. Ownership's reflecting it at 30%. Cat at 27%. Edwards has been on fire now at 16%. On the Washington side, as far as runbacks, it's rough. Porzingis is great, but he's just super expensive, and there's blowout, nonsense. And of course, he has a history of injuries, and why would they're not going to push him beyond 31, 32 minutes? And that's best case scenario. Curtis, what do you have in this game?
I love Cat tonight. Cat's one of my favorite plays. He's always does does something stupid that he doesn't go off. He picks up really dumb fouls and gets into foul trouble. I just want one game. It's coming. I know it is, where he goes absolutely berserk. And this is the perfect spot for it against the Wizards. And this is a night when it's going to be Embiid is going to be and Jokic are going to be extremely chalky. That this is a way, if those games break in a unfavorable direction, this game could be really, really good for Cat if this game stays close. So I'm going to be on Cat tonight. I love him on Yahoo. I love him on FanDuel. I like him on DK. Cat's my boy. D'Angelo Russell too cheap. Anthony Edwards been scoring and looking good over this last 4-game stretch. I think he's finally not sick and not injured. I think he was kind of battling a little bit before that, and I think he's back to his normal self, which is just gunning. So 21 shot attempts in the last game against Houston is nice to see. So I can get behind that. And there's also some potential guys that are going to sit out in this game just to kind of give these other guys higher minutes upside. So I like that. On the other side, I don't really like anyone. Maybe Porzingis, but that's it. Maybe Denny.
Ruiz, whatever, and Ish is whatever. I can't get excited about any of it.
Rui, I can get behind on he's min price on Yahoo tonight. So like I can get behind that. 4,800 isn't so bad on DraftKings either. So, and he's been doing a lot recently. He had a rough game against Boston, but a lot of players have rough games against Boston. But other than that, he was looking really confident and scoring. That's the thing, is he doesn't pick up a lot of peripheral stuff, which is always tough, but he has been scoring.
You play a ton on Yahoo, and like you mentioned min price, and traditionally I think the guys that are $10, they need to put up depending on the slate, obviously this slate's totally different, like 23, 24, 20. What do you need out of a $10 guy on Yahoo to feel like okay about it before you bring in opportunity costs and all that?
I mean, there's no like every slate is different.
Yeah.
Like every, so it's like, I don't know. It's just like if I can build a lineup that has high upside, he can get me, what his projection is close to. If I see that he has a higher ceiling than what his projection is, I'll lean more in that direction. And, I like to do matchups. I know a lot of people don't even look at that. They just look at a projection, but I like to kind of think out games ahead of time. And this could be a good game for Rui. But, long story short, 25 points, 25 to 30 points, and you're fine.
Yeah. You need at least 25. That's like a starting point in my head.
Yeah.
By the way, Suggs and Franz Wagner are available, and they are both starting, which I think I'm just going to cross Orlando out. If Mo Wagner beats me, he beats me. That's where I'm at right now. We'll see. And then Indiana, this is hilarious. TJ McConnell available to play. What are we doing? He's on a minutes limit, right? But that's just funny. No Brogdon. Does McConnell just straight back up Halliburton? Is that works? Is that a reasonable expectation? I don't know. And Goga Bataze's out, right? So, okay, who's going to stop? Not that Goga Bataze was going to stop Embiid, but okay, Kirk Dees. Who's going to stop Embiid? 6'7" Terry Taylor, Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson.
It's going to be Isaiah or Jalen Smith, but
it's a mauling, right?
They weren't nobody was going to stop him tonight. And nobody is going to stop him tonight. So
yeah, I mean, at least Goga had some girth, but
Goga, he would have annihilated Goga as well.
Correct.
It really doesn't matter. Like he's going off in this matchup. It's just how many minutes does he get?
By the way, I just realized I jumped ahead a couple of games for some reason.
I was going to ask you. So, you just skipped the Houston, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Miami. I was wondering what the heck we're doing.
I'm doing some weird scroll. Hey, you know what? End of the season, I got to keep you on your toes. We were talking about teams doing a fabulous job tanking and applauding Orlando, and good for them. And don't be surprised if somebody goes to the locker room and doesn't come back in this game. But let's not disrespect the Houston Rockets. They've lost 4 in a row. Spectacular job. Now they're tied with Orlando. And this is one of those deals, Luch, right, where the tanking takes care of itself in theory. They're 17-point dogs. Brooklyn's got a 131 team total, which is insane. That's an incredible number. So I don't know if Houston has to tank. It's kind of what they're going to lose organically. It's just going to happen. So I feel a little better about, unless, again, basketball goofy things happen, but assuming this game is reasonably close, I think this is an interesting game stack because we've seen Kyrie and Durant just play an insane amount of minutes on their side. And of course, the Houston Rockets is a great matchup. But if somehow Houston keeps it close, I know the prices have adjusted on KPJ, but he's been phenomenal. Same deal with Green. He's been phenomenal. Sengun, he's pricey, but in theory, he can pay that salary off and then some. I think this is kind of an interesting little game stack. It can go the wrong way. You can finish dead last, but who cares? This is a Ricky Bobby game stack for me.
Ricky Bobby. I'm still kind of anticipating maybe we get some 701. One of these net studs are out, kind of it's possible. I know they're down some bodies. I don't know. I'm really conflicted here. If there's a chance we get some Nets news here that someone just gets a night off. But on Houston's side, I think Josh Christopher, he's not projecting great, but I know he's hitting 80% of his shots, but he's in one of those weird modes where he's going to play meaningful minutes as the first guard off the bench, but they're also going to run him out there in annihilation time too. So I feel like he's in that perfect rotation slot where he's going to see the minutes. We've seen some ceiling games out of him this past week. So I'd never thought I say Josh Christopher is one of my favorite per dollar plays in a basketball game, but here we are. I think Christopher is an interesting move here. Jalen Green's been incredible. He's getting up there on DK. His usage has been great. He's firing at will. He's been a great climb the ladder prop money maker lately. So I like him too. Cheaper on FanDuel, and of course Sengun, is a point per minute guy as well. The guy that's been really disappointing is Jayshawn Tate, and he's just not. We're actually projecting him for 24 minutes, but he's just not been playing well. And he's one of the Rockets I am off tonight. But I like Green on FanDuel tournaments. I think you can run a lot of these guys back with either Kyrie or Kevin Durant. By some grace of God, this is some kind of game in the fourth quarter. You're right. This could be a Ricky Bobby stack. I like that.
Bruce Brown expect to be available, but Brooklyn is thin with the absence of Seth Curry. Goran Dragic is out. We know Joe Harris has been out for a long time. Nectat James Johnson's questionable with his illness. And again, Kyrie has played a boatload of minutes, like 44, 45. Durant too. Those guys both can play a ton of minutes. Of course, if this game's a blowout, I presume that they'll get a blow in the fourth, but it's very, very clear where the fantasy points are going to go. And I think, Drummond's interesting as well. And I don't hate Bruce Brown, but, again, this is like nobody's owning these players. Nobody. When you look at DK, as far as Houston, the biggest ownership is Gary Bird, Gary Matthews. I'm probably not going there at 7% ownership, Şengün at 4%, and all the other guys like 1% or less. The Brooklyn side, of course, you're going to get some ownership, but again, it doesn't love Durant, it doesn't love Kyrie. We're looking at 3% on those guys, which is just like, I understand why. We'll talk about it. What do you think, Kirk Dees? This to me, again, I don't love anything here, but I think for tournaments, if you're going for the top, there's some potential if things crack your way.
Yeah, it's a 17-point spread, so obviously there's always room to be worried about that. But there's a 245-point total, and Houston can have games where they play pretty well and Jalen Green's hitting shots, and Brooklyn can play pretty bad and has a bad coach, in my opinion. The only thing that worries me is that they're going to probably play better tonight because James Johnson won't be in there if he's out, because James Johnson has been absolutely horrendous. I don't know if you've watched much of the Nets, but like he still thinks he has it on the offensive end, and he does not have it. And so he just puts up stupid shots, and he's not even a good defender anymore. But anyways, Drummond could do well, but there's also the case where this game could play way too fast for him to be, and he could just really get played off the court because of the way Houston's playing. So Şengün should crush Drummond. He should be good on the offensive end. So I like Şengün no matter what in this spot. The only other guys I would take in this game would be Kevin Porter Jr. or Jalen Green. And I would run it back with Kyrie probably, but Durant could be good, but it's just too much of a sticker it's just too risky from a price standpoint, and the blowout in this game. I would probably lean towards Kyrie for my Brooklyn style, but this game, like, it wouldn't shock me if they if it ends up being somewhat competitive.
Yeah, me either, but it wouldn't shock me if Brooklyn won by 30 also. Like, neither would shock me. And if you want one way off the reservation, you want like you're shooting for the top and like a large field, I think Claxton. If this game goes the wrong way for Houston, Claxton can like put up like 15 and 12 and 3 in like 25 minutes. That we have had the conversation as far as opportunity cost at center, but I think he's kind of sort of somewhat interesting. If I was running 150, I'd get a pinch of Claxton. Let's move on. Let's talk about my Miami Heat home versus the Hornets. 6-point favorites versus Charlotte. Charlotte fully healthy. They have Gordon Hayward back. Miami, we're not so sure about. The Winderman, their top beat writer, basically said Lowry is in a spot to rest tonight, and he's questionable, which is always fun. Either tell us he's resting or not. Tucker is questionable. We're expecting Martin and Vincent also questionable. So, if all these guys get ruled out, a guy like Gabe Vincent could be interesting. We saw Oladipo rise up the other night in the absence of like 3 or 4 pieces, and been getting DMPCDs. But now there's an opportunity. We'll see, depending on. But it's hard to say anything about the Heat. Butler's got a pretty reasonable price. They probably want the Hornets to lose. I guess you can say that, because they probably want Brooklyn to be in that 7-8 playing game as opposed to the 9-10 one, and that they would want to push Charlotte down. So if you want to make that argument, because Miami likely has the 1, they probably don't want to face Brooklyn in the first round. They may, if they're in the 7-8. They couldn't if they're in the 9-10. I said a lot of words here, Kirk Dees, but this game overall, as it stands, especially on the Charlotte side, I can't give you any argument for Charlotte. But what do you have for me?
Not a whole lot until we get some more clarification with like if people start sitting out. But yeah, this game's tough. Just from the Heat play good defense. The Hornets don't. The Hornets are fast, so I would like a guy like Jimmy Butler normally in this spot, and I think you can play him like on Yahoo because he's kind of cheap over there. But 8,400, I'd rather actually on DraftKings, I'd rather just take my chances with Bam against a really bad rebounding team in a game that could be played at a faster pace than normal. And there's a lot of peripheral stats, but the Hornets don't defend the 3-point line. They're awful. They've been awful for years. They've been awful this entire season. They're 29th in opponent made threes per game. So I always kind of like try to fit in some shooters that are priced cheaply and hope that they have like a ceiling game. So I guess
Max Strus?
That's possible. Yeah, I could get behind that. Yeah.
We have a big projection for Gabe Vincent for what it's worth. Like our projections really like him if things kind of crack his way, but we are projecting Lowry out, if I'm reading this correctly. Our projection team made a bold call, and I think that's the likely scenario. It's already been floated out there. He's probably going to rest tonight. We'll see. There's other pieces that we're waiting to fall as far as Miami. But yeah, we're looking at 26. Well, yeah, again, Vincent, we're expecting things to crack his way on DK, but he's not even official. He's questionable too. I know you're playing on FanDuel there, Luch. Butler's got a nice price over there at 7.6K. Ownership reflects it, 38%. Nobody else really getting more than 13% over there. What's your thoughts as far as this game?
Yeah, if you're multi-entering, I think you got to have some Heat exposure. I'm going to separate Butler and Bam, no more than one on each team. But, you mentioned 3-point shooting, and like, I just think it's going to be a Tyler Hero game. And the minutes have been in the low 30s, and he hasn't had a ceiling game in a while. But this is his kind of game environment. And, your numbers about the 3-point shooting are it. Without Lowry, going to have a little bit more ball handling responsibilities too. More of a gut call here. Lowry out definitely helps, but I'm loving Tyler Hero for large field GPPs tonight.
All right, let's move on. Talk about Portland and OKC. We have to acknowledge their existence. 221 is the total. OKC is a 5-point favorite in this game. We do have today, Brandon Williams was dropped with a Q tag. I assume that's a tanking thing, and I assume he's not going to play. It's wild that he makes that much of a difference, but again, these are two fully tanking teams that want to lose. OKC currently in the 4 spot, Portland currently in the 6 spot as far as the tankathon. Man, Curtis, do we have to really acknowledge this game? I don't.
Yes.
There's a lot of bodies.
This game is the nuts. Like if it could be, like it could be. This is like the G League game. G League games can be the nuts. We just got to figure out the minutes, right? They got like condensed rotations here because all these people are out. I don't know. So I do have interest in it. I mean, like these teams are so bad. And then now even like their best players are out too. They're so bad on the defensive end. It's going to play so sloppy. There's going to be so many steals, so many easy buckets. So the problem is who can score, right? So I love on OKC's side. I love Pokashevsky. He's going to be kind of popular tonight, but Theo Maledon, I can get behind too. And then the other guy, I don't know about Vit Krejci.
Yeah, they have 11 guys now. Yeah, they have 11 guys now. They added another one off the street, OKC. And again, they picked up Horde off the street the very, very same day they signed him to a 10-day contract. They gave him 40 minutes. So I don't know. But I agree. Poku is the best play in this game.
And Lindy Waters could shoot his way into a good game.
I have
interest back on his minutes a little bit. He's too good.
You think so? Yeah, maybe for this game.
I just think OKC's got a bunch of guys now, and like more so than it's not 8 guys like they're running before. Now they have 11, and I wouldn't be surprised if they play all 11. They just called up or signed a guy named I did not practice this.
I've got 9 guys getting minutes. That's what I have.
I'll take the over on 9 guys.
Okay.
Who do you not have Xavier Simpson getting any minutes?
Yeah, you don't have any Xavier Simpson minutes at the.
What about Georgios Kalzakis?
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's
No
getting
minutes
at least a
first.
minute. He's going to get some run. You got to see what you have in him.
All right. Let's see.
I don't know. I mean, and Williams, if he doesn't play, do we get excited about Chris Dunn?
So that's what I worry about. But it's like Chris Dunn's going to be Chris. Do you think they'll start him?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who else would they start?
If they start him, I'm definitely interested
Blevins?
in. But if they don't, then Blevins would be the other guy that they probably start. Like maybe they just want to keep him off the bench because that's what they've been doing, but I don't know. But like he did get 27 minutes. This could be a great game from this could be, a sloppy game is right up Chris Dunn's alley, especially on FanDuel and
For
Yahoo.
stocks.
So yeah, definitely. And he's like the only he can drive, he can get to the hoop and get buckets. I like Greg Brown. The guy does a little bit of everything. We just need more minutes out of him, and we did get 29 minutes two games ago. Then he only got 24 in the last one, but I have him in my lineup over on Yahoo right now. I'm not sure if I'll end up being there in the end, but I'm definitely interested in him. So those are my two favorites.
You got him over Moses if you're going to power rank the Browns?
Well, it's
mentioned
different.
earlier.
He's power forward over on. I would rather play Moses,
Yeah.
but I got power forward spot to put Greg Brown in on Yahoo.
Understood. What do you want to add to this mess here, Luch? I think Poku's the best play in this game. I think we saw a triple double at him last game, and that they let him go, let him get loose. He'll have a good time. But again, I just don't trust rotations on these teams that much, and they have more options now than they have in previous games. What do you have, Luch?
Yeah, I agree. I don't trust the rotations. Portland's played a bunch of guys last game, 8 guys, I think, with 20 plus minutes. If Williams is out, I have more interest. But some of these guys that were min-priced a couple of weeks ago, got like a $700 to $900 price bump, and they're just not as attractive on this 12-game slate because the ceiling's really not that good. So like, I'm pumping the brakes a little on the Keon Johnsons and guys like that were, very popular a couple weeks ago here. I do like Poku quite a bit. Man, Lindy Waters, that's such a 2K creative player, load the disc up name they slap on there. He's probably 00 too, right? I don't even know.
There's a headband, I can tell you that. I watched enough OKC.
He's got some tats.
Okay. All right. So you got the VCs and you bought the tats. let's
talk about this though. Like there's Brandon Williams is significant usage on this team if he's out.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's going to shoot? Who's going to score? I mean, they're probably not going to score much, but
Dunn's not really a scorer.
Yeah, I know. He's going to have to get to the hoop.
We might see Mcconnell shoot a ton.
Yeah.
He's been scoring. Like they don't need to see who they have than Ben McLemore, obviously, at this point. Like he just sort of is what he is. But
they don't need to see what they have in any of these guys. Like
they're all really gone like in 2 years.
They're all terrible. Like
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to play McLemore, but it wouldn't surprise me if you put 25 actual points in the bucket.
Maybe Keon Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not my favorite play on this slate, but I don't know if we should totally just dismiss Drew Eubanks after a couple of duds. I know the price is up there.
I think what we're doing is just the center position is so stacked. Like
he's multi on FanDuel, so that's
good. Yeah, I could do that. But on DK 7,500, and then
right,
just
tough.
Same thing for
big games, but the price is obviously adjusted to where he's at.
Same deal for Isaiah Roby.
He's the best player on the team at this point. But
it's true.
He might be. That's like saying, I don't know what that's not terribly. You got to pick somebody. It might be him. And did San Antonio cut him earlier in the year? Or was it a trade? I don't recall. They might have just cut him. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Bucks. They're a good basketball team. 231.5 is the total. They're facing the Chicago Bulls. They are 7-point favorites. The Bucks are a fully healthy basketball team. They have Giannis Antetokounmpo. They of course have Holiday and they have Middleton. I don't think you get to think much beyond that. But what do you have, Luch, as far as Giannis? How much are you prioritizing Giannis? They're facing a Bulls team tonight without Levine, not official, but like he's unlikely to play, right? Which will push up DeRozan, which will push up Vuk. And, peripheral guys like Caruso and Ayo Dosunmu are also kind of sort of something interesting and make stuff work. But the star of this show, you got to pay for him, is Giannis. But how much are you prioritizing Giannis when you compare him versus Embiid, when you compare him versus Durant and all his contemporaries? Where is he for you?
More than I thought I would at our projected 15% ownership. He's the most expensive player on FanDuel, and that's fine because there's plenty of ways to get him. A little worried about the blowout. I think the last Grinderslive I did, they played, or one of the last ones, and they kind of thumped Chicago. Chicago has been terrible against elite competition this year. It's not just a narrative anymore. There's almost a 20-game sample size. They've just been bad. I'm not saying they're getting blown out of all these games, but not having Levine really hurts. It does open up some value for us for DFS, but I want to go double the field on Giannis for sure, that he's coming in low on this big slate here. Levine out makes a couple of these other cheap plays interesting. Caruso in a fast pace is going to see more minutes. A guy who loves blocks and steals sometimes has to get lucky to get there, but we haven't projected for over 30 minutes. So I think that works. AO super cheap. Good smash percentage we have here at Lineup HQ, and Kobe White, and I don't know who it's going to be. Like this is a thing where like I'm going to have all these guys in my pool and most likely set a build rule like of max of one, right? And like I just don't want to double up on these guys because I'm not sure who it's going to be. And maybe two of them get there, but on this slate, I'm not sure that's the path I want to go here. DeRozan, obviously, if they're going to stick in this game, it's most likely going to be on his shoulders. We have him coming in at a super high ownership, but he's not 10K anymore, right? So he's down to 9,100 on FanDuel. And I think DeRozan makes sense here too. I think he's a cash play on the slate for sure, and maybe I'll come around on him. I just have to when he comes in at 40%, that's a big decision point on a 12-game slate for tournaments here. So
that's a huge number. I understand why it's there, but that number is huge.
Yep.
I want your thoughts on those two big pieces, like Giannis and DeRozan here, Curtis. But this is the tricky part, figuring out. And Kobe White's another one. Dosunmu, White, Caruso, the guys that make things work as far as salary wise. Do you have a preference amongst those three? I think White is like more of the ambitious tournament guy, but for sure he's in your pool if you run a bunch of lineups. Your favorite cheapie on the Chicago side?
It's Kobe White. I'm just hoping that he goes off shooting wise. I just don't feel comfortable. I mean, they're all probably aren't the best plays, but they're in play, right? I just don't think there's a lot of ceiling there for Caruso or Ayo. I love DeRozan. I love Vooch. I love Giannis. Giannis is not getting enough ownership tonight, and I would probably just, if I was MMEing, which I did do a run on my own projections earlier. Giannis was my highest owned player tonight. I'm not MMEing because I'm doing this show, so. But if I was, he'd be my highest owned player tonight.
You got anything else in this game that's worth stressing before we move on? We're a little bit behind on time. 4 games and knockout before we step aside and make way for the Crunch Time Show, sponsored by FanDuel. Do want to mention, good time to mention, we talk about baseball being around the corner. Crunch Time is free this year for baseball. And you get, we talked about Dave Potts, cheese is good. You get his mind, I assume Cardi is going to be on there. I assume you guys are going to pop on there sometimes. And you also get Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, which is really, really important weather-wise on some days. And I believe it's going to be important right out the gate, Thursday and Friday, already some weather lurking. So it's free on YouTube this year. So there you go. Take you guys straight up to lock. Do want to mention that San Antonio is facing Denver. Trey Jones, as of right now, I believe one of the most popular players on the slate. Dwayne Dedman was just removed from our projections. Is that because he was scratched?
Yeah, he's out with Lowry's out.
OG Anunoby's out too.
Yep.
Okay, so Markieff Morris available, Gabe Vincent available as expected. Yurt7 is out. Is that do we? Oh no, we added Yurt7. Okay, I see his name popping up. Oh, okay. The Pistons are already doing their thing. I see. They're prepping for tomorrow. They're prepping the tank right now. All right. Yeah. I want to walk that back as far as Miami if we have a second. Maybe we'll have time to do it later. But all right. Let's talk about Trey Jones, the star of the show against Denver versus Jokic, potentially the star of the show What do you have here on Kirk? Do you want to make an argument against Trey Jones? Like the sites, just for whatever reason. No, DeJounte Murray. He's out. We should mention that. DK has him at 4K. FanDuel's got him at 3.7. Yahoo at 16. Whew, he's going to be hard not to play, right?
Yeah, I mean, so he's cheap, right? He's also, they're going to be, trying their best to win this game. He's going to be out there regardless. He's, should be locked into really good minutes. He played 33 and 34 in the last 2 games, and he can score. He's a scorer. So he's like really good chalk tonight, in my opinion. So he's like, when we were talking about Mo Wagner, like that's a guy I want to be underweight on. Trey Jones, I would want to be close to the field or above on tonight. Single entry stuff, I'm going to have him in every lineup. I got nothing against him tonight.
What about the other Spurs? You like anybody else in particular? Big Body Johnson's kind of sort of someone interesting, but there's nothing else you necessarily have to have. If you're only running 1 or 3 or 5 lineups, of course it's different. If you're running 150, but your second favorite Spur, if you have one, or just talk about Jokic.
My second favorite is Keldon for sure. And then third, it would be between Lonnie or Josh Richardson. So that would be where I'm going on the Spurs. But Jokic, there's another situation. He's in play for a top stud of the night. He's had like 70 fantasy points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and all 5 of his last games. He's been extremely, he's been a must play on pretty much every slate so far. Cause you pair up with the value. There's others. I'll take the chance on and go underweight on him tonight and take Giannis or try to get close to him with Cat, who I like at the center position, or play Embiid, who I think is just going to crush his matchup. But I have nothing bad to say about Jokic. Just from an ownership play, I'd try to get some of the other guys.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like he needs at least 70. I hate saying that, but that's kind of what he needs. Like if I told you he's getting 67, 68 fantasy points, you're probably not playing him. I don't think. Again, it's not going to hurt you, I don't think. But yeah, and we keep talking about lineup construction. We keep talking about how many good stops are along the ladder of center tonight. So that's why, I don't know if you need him, but if you land on him, that's great too. What do you have here, Justin, as far as Spurs, Denver?
Yeah, same thoughts here. I know we're in a time crunch. I will add that Monte Morris has been really good. He had a stretch of playing a bunch of gauntlet defenses, played 5 straight horrific teams. He's crushed in 3 of those 5 games. So another bad defensive team who plays fast, in the Spurs, a fantastic matchup. He's pushing 5K, but if we get a 35-point game out of him, there's a decent night of low ownership. So I do kind of like Monte Morris as well.
Who gets those OG Anunoby minutes? Are we thinking like Boucher and Precious, but nothing really enough to get excited about? Is that kind of where we're at there, Kirkies?
I think so. They still have a ton. I think it's Precious probably starts.
Yeah. I think we're projecting Pascal and Birch to start, but yeah, I don't know how much it matters. Like either way.
It doesn't.
Yeah. I just thought it was worth kind of walking that back for a second. Let's move on. Let's power through. 3 games left. Again, if you guys are on the old YouTube, fire up your questions in the YouTube chat. What up? Hit that like button while you're at it too. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. And we also we like it when you guys hang out in our Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel is free for everybody. It's not a premium channel. Whatever questions you guys ask pertaining to the slate, producer Devin is lurking. He's going to snipe those questions and throw them my way, and we'll talk about them end of show. Memphis, Utah, 226 is the total. Utah is a 6-point favorite. All the guys that got fake body parts for Memphis last time are all miraculously healthy, with the exception of Dylan Brooks, who's still doubtful, but everybody else expected to be good to go. Utah fully healthy as well, with the exception of Trent Forrest. In the locker room, though, chemistry-wise, Kirk D's, I'm not sure if they're healthy. I don't know if you saw
a lot of problems.
Yeah, Mitchell and Gobert don't seem to like each other.
I've suffered through it.
Go ahead.
I've suffered through it. I've played Gobert in like really heavily in this last stretch when Whiteside's been out, and so I've watched and been like, pass him the ball, and they just don't pass him the ball. It's absolutely crazy. And now that's all coming to light. Quinn Snyder is being rumored to be on the way out after this season, which is kind of incredible too, because this was a team on the rise, right? So yeah, there's a lot of chemistry issues going on right now.
The window closed, I think, on Utah, and like I wouldn't be surprised if they have a first round exit. And yeah, what was the stat? Like not assists, not potential assists, passes.
More turnovers than actual passes to Gobert.
Mitchell passes the ball to Gobert like a snippet over 2 times per game,
and which is, turns the ball over three times per game.
Yeah. What do you have from this game from a DFS perspective? Because I think it's mostly blah.
Yeah, so the Memphis has been playing great. Kudos to them, what they've been doing. It's just been an incredible run. They've also been playing fast. They're second in the last 15 games in pace, but they've also been playing really strong defense. They're second in defensive rating over the last 15 games. So I like the fast pace. Donovan Mitchell could go off tonight, especially, if he's taking some of this as fuel to, with all this chemistry stuff. Maybe he wants to put the team on his back, but this certainly is a matchup that he could do well. Fast paced game, nice pace up spot for him. I don't know. I can't really get behind Gobert now. I mean, Gobert's been great regardless of not getting passes. He's been producing, right? Like, and cleaning up a lot of offensive boards and stuff like that. It's just not sure that this is the matchup for him, and we have so much opportunity cost. I'm trying to find you can play Bogey if you needed him, just as like lineup filler, and maybe Desmond Bane. I don't know. I'm not really I'm not really getting much of this game, but the one guy that I am getting some is Donovan Mitchell.
Luch?
I'm not playing anybody from Memphis, even without John FanDuel. Like Tyus Jones up to 6,600, et cetera. Like the prices are up, but like I think most importantly is Memphis is just locked into that 2 seed in the West, so they can run guys out there, just get them reps. But I don't think we're going to see the minutes we want to see to get a ceiling game against Utah out of any of these guys. I know Jaren Jackson is like 5,900, but still, there's a guy who barely plays 30 minutes as it is because he fouls everybody under the sun. So I don't think there's a lot of incentive for the Grizzlies to run their guys out there at these prices, at the minutes that we need them to get there.
Question: have we seen Markelle Fultz start yet this year, or is tonight his first start? And maybe that means they're going to give him some more minutes.
I think they had to. I
don't think he started all season. I'm scrolling through. They have Hampton behind him and Devin Kennedy. Kennedy's been getting like 30 minutes a game too. In his 2 games.
You made that guy up.
Look, is that a sign? Is that a signal? Maybe Fultz gets 25, 28. I don't know. Again, they're also in the business of wanting to lose. I kind
of don't care at 5,700 on this slate if he gets 25 minutes. I mean, if he kills me kind of thing.
Well, 4-6 on DK, different conversation.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, different conversation. But on FanDuel, I think it's probably a pass.
What do you think, Artis? Is that interesting?
I have more interest in him. I was kind of interested anyway. The ceiling is just the problem there. But like, I think he could get, maybe he could push 25 minutes in this spot.
Yeah.
We haven't projected for 26.
No, that would be the most all season by far, because he hasn't played more than 21 or 22. Yeah. Interesting. I like to see like a beat if they had a thought on it, but they don't even know sometimes. All right. Do want to move on. 2 games left. Knock those out. Knock out the questions from chat. New Orleans, Sacramento, 224.5 is a total. New Orleans is an 8-point favorite. We are monitoring the body part of Jonas Valanciunas. He's got an ankle, so he's questionable. Sacramento without Fox, without Holmes, without Sabonis, without Davis, Len, questionable as well. We've seen Damian Jones thrive at the 5 of late for Sacramento. We keep talking about opportunity costs as far as centers. If Valanciunas doesn't go, maybe a Jackson Hayes gets loose. Maybe they let Hernan Gomez have a good time. And New Orleans, I believe, is kind of locked in, right? Isn't New Orleans? Yeah. Well, no, they're 1 game up on San Antonio. Right now, they're currently hosting the 9. Can't get any better. Theoretically, could get worse. But, they're in the play-in, and they have a good chance of hosting it. What do you have, Luch, as far as New Orleans and Sacramento?
Yeah, this is the news that could change a lot of things. Definitely keeping some exposure open. And the problem is it's a late game here, but Jackson Hayes at 4,300. If we get Valanciunas news, I'm going to swap to a ton of him as much as I can. And you're right, Hernan Gomez like has barely cracked the rotation, but without Valanciunas, there's not many guys that I would say if he's only getting 20 minutes, I'd consider him a GPP priority, but he's one of them. I mean, he has ridiculous like 40-point upside in 20 minutes, especially against Sacramento. So I think this is just integral news. It's a great matchup. On the flip side, Damian Jones is center only on FanDuel. So again, it's the night of the centers here. And although he's been playing great, I don't think I can sacrifice my center slot to him with all the ceiling guys in killer spots that we have. I think it's a very interesting bounce back spot for Davion Mitchell, who, has been running out there like 40 minutes when he can. He was brutal the last couple of games, but we can't just like forget about what he did a week ago for a stretch of consecutive games there. It should be a decent game environment. New Orleans is not great defensively. So if there's a contrarian look on this slate, for a guy with real 50-point upside, I think it might be Mitchell.
Yeah, I don't hate that call, and like nobody's going to play him, so he's fine. And they've been playing him, right? They've been playing him 37, 38, 39, 40. Sacramento has no incentive, but he is getting those minutes for what it's worth. Kirk, this game overall not terribly exciting. I don't mind Ingram on the other side, but again, it's a lot of it is sort of like wait and see mode. Is that a 10 o'clock game? I think it is, right? 9 o'clock. Okay.
It's 10 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, it's 10. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah, 10 o'clock. So
that's
I don't know when we'll know
it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, and I kind of think that J-Val's going to play. I don't know, but like I've seen this before, and I've waited out for Hernan Gomez, and then Valanciunas plays. Like literally, and then we also have Larry Nance here, so we don't know for sure if Hernan Gomez will crush. If J-Val's out, because we don't know what Nance's role will be. But the guy I love, and I nailed him the other night on his first strong game back against the Lakers. Is Brandon Ingram, and I'll give him a pass on the day after, after the, staying in LA, visiting his old home city. Sure, he did a little nightlife after that really strong game, then stayed there, played the Clippers the next day. I'll give him a pass for it being so bad then, because he probably went out and had a good time. But Sacramento is so bad that this is an Ingram game. Ingram is getting ready for the playoffs. They want to go in strong. He's looking good. So he's my guy, and he's still underpriced on all of the sites, in my opinion. So he's my first choice in this game. Other than that, I only have interest in some of the other guys if the news, breaks right, but I'm not going to like plan all around it. And the one, and Luch said Damian Jones. Yeah, I can get behind Damian. If J-Val is out, Damian Jones, I will definitely boost up for sure, because I think it would be a much better situation for him. But the thing that I was just thinking about, that if the way that he went nuts against the Rockets, we should probably like Andre Drummond a little more than we do tonight. But
yeah, I don't hate that call, and I don't know how much it matters, but ideally, I guess you want Alex Len out if you're playing Jones. I don't think it matters much, but just noting that, I suppose. Let's talk about the Lakers. The Lakers in Phoenix tonight. No LeBron. Davis expected to give it a go with his foot. Phoenix is fully healthy. Phoenix in the front end of a back-to-back. Lakers are 11, 12, 13-point dogs, depending on where you're looking. The tricky thing here, Luch, and we talked about the ownership on FanDuel for a couple players being really, really high on a 12-game slate. Anthony Davis, severely underpriced, and the key is he's power forward / center eligible. He's 7.6K. We've seen him really get loose in one game without LeBron. The other game was solid too. Would pay off that 7.6K price tag. 64% ownership on a game where they're probably going to get waxed. Oh man. What do you do with that? Because that is a monster number for a team that's severe underdogs. I understand why it's that number, because he should be a 10K player without LeBron, but what do you have?
And it's tough. He's absolutely crushed that tag in both of his games back. Clearly like the minutes haven't been an issue here. I guess they're not officially dead, right? But like theoretically it'd take a Hail Mary to kind of get in. So I don't know. I think we're going to see a good amount of unless this game's a total blowout, which it very well could be. But I have to play the ceiling here on FanDuel. It's just a totally different story on DraftKings. You can live with 45 out of him on FanDuel and maybe be optimal, right? At 76 at power forward. But the fact that he's 9K at center, only on DK really, really stinks here. So, like, I'm not going to lock button this guy. I might not even get to 64%, but, maybe I'll go half the field here and just hope it works out. Like, I don't want to completely fade him here. So I'm going to have to do some thinking after the show. So I'm interested for sure on FanDuel. DK, I'm probably out.
Rookie move. Dean's got his mic muted.
You got me. Kirk Dees, I want your thoughts as well as far as Davis. Anything else in the Lakers? If you dare talk about anybody else in the Lakers, I can't imagine. I mean, I guess you can play some Russ too in theory. Sure. If you're, 150 and all that kind of stuff. And then Phoenix is just sort of like everybody's back. They're all kind of priced where they should be. Good matchup, but I don't know. I guess you run back somebody if you're playing some Davis, if you're considering that. What do you have as far as this game?
I think they can keep this game close enough to have Davis on the floor. He's played 35 and 37 minutes in his last two games. He's probably gonna want to go out, trying to do everything he can for this team. Yes, tonight could be the night that they essentially put the nail in the coffin if the Spurs win and if Phoenix, lays the hammer down on them. But I think he's going to be on the floor personally. So I think on FanDuel, he's pretty much a must. And on DraftKings, I have some interest in him, especially at extremely low ownership is what I've seen so far. I like Devin Booker on the other side. And I also like DeAndre Ayton in this spot. So I probably have more interest than most people in this game.
Let's knock out some questions we have from chat. Let's see. Ben wants to know if 80 is going to get there in a blowout. We just talked about it. I mean, we don't know. If it's a 20-point lead with 5 minutes to go, I assume he's not on the court. Let's talk about some stacks, Kirk Dees. Is there a game that you would do like a 2-2 or a 3-2 stack? Do you have a preference? Something along those lines.
It would be the Blazers Thunder game or more. Normally, I would want like 1-1 of certain games tonight, for the most part, but like that game, I can take multiple players in for sure.
Who would they be?
You're playing roulette. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that game. Let's see. DK, GPP, free square, Trey Jones or Gabe Vincent. Well, Trey Jones' path to fantasy points is much more clear than Gabe Vincent. I assume you agree with that, Kirkies?
Yeah, but I like Gabe tonight. I like Gabe and I like Struz. Like I said, I want to exploit that 3-point defense that they have. So they give up so many threes.
Question here from chat. Let's ask the Luch this one. This is from D-Rock. Does Scotty know tonight or does Scotty doesn't know tonight? You like Scotty Barnes?
I do. I like his FanDuel price, and I like that OG's out. He's been playing pretty well. I don't think Atlanta is hurting on the wings with Bogey and Gallo are game time decisions. Neither of them are good defenders as it is. There's no John Collins, so I think you can exploit Atlanta on the wing here. I like Scotty Barnes for GPPs.
Who got the Scotty doesn't know reference? Come on, somebody step in here. Anybody? Nobody?
Dean, we got it. We're just crunched for time, man.
Yeah, geez, nobody's seen Eurotrip. To be fair, that's how it was worded. I wasn't having fun. That's how somebody worded it to me.
With Tom. No, it's not.
Who's Matt Damon's? He's briefly in it. He makes a cameo in that movie. But DJ Qualls, I believe, is in it from Road Trip fame. I think he's in that. Scott
Road Trip. That's what I was thinking about. Road Trip.
Yeah. Austin, Massachusetts. All right. Flores Mark wants to know. This is for you, Kirk. These DK tournaments: Mo Wagner or Greg Brown?
Greg Brown. Easy.
Snap call. Let's see. Do we get an LA sitting? Is anybody for LA? Well, we think LeBron's sitting, and we assume is there anything else that's up for debate right now? I don't think so, right? LeBron's out and Davis is in. Is there anything else we're monitoring there? That's basically what we're expecting. Yes, as far as I know. Shout out to Ayana B in YouTube chat. Won 8K last time we talked about Cat. There you go. I don't know who and when that happened. All the days kind of merged together, but Congratulations. AK, not so shabby. FanDuel question. This is for you, Luch. Carolina guy, FanDuel single entry. Which studs are we playing? How many in one lineup? I know you're running a bunch, or I don't know if you're running one. You tell me. Ideally, how many quote unquote studs for one lineup, and who would they be? Who you're prioritizing? Who's on the top of the podium for you?
Well, it's one of the centers and it's Giannis. But I'm also correlating here. I guess single entry is a different story. Like we talked about Brooklyn, like wherever I have Durant or Irving, I'm running one of these Rockets back with him and setting a build rule. So that's where I'm at.
Is Yurt 7 a sneaky play with Dedmon out? Like, I don't think so. He's just going to back up Bam, right?
Probably.
We're not playing Yurt 7.
You're the Miami guy. What do you think?
He just backs up Bam. Like if Bam gets in foul trouble, if the game gets out of control. But like we talked about how amazing centers are tonight. Maybe he's 3K. I haven't looked, but I can't imagine I'm going to play him. Mike wants to know, FanDuel, so this is for you, Luch. FanDuel tournament's best run back on the Houston Rockets for a game stack.
Let's see. It's Jalen Green. But I think Josh Christopher is just sneaky. I'd have a couple of shares of Christopher too.
Kirk D's Flores Mark wants to know, DK tournaments, Mike Conley or Tyus Jones?
Tyus.
Say it with conviction.
There's no conviction there. It's like rebuild.
Let's see. Eric says, I've got Davion Mitchell at 38 FanDuel points. Is that too much? We have at 38 as well. So that's about right. Hopefully we're correct together. So yeah, you nailed it. Thoughts on Melton with everybody back tonight, Kirk D's? I don't think I'm playing Melton.
Yeah, probably not. I would consider, I don't want to say something that's not true. I kind of would lean him over Conley maybe, and Tyus potentially, but I don't know. I
find somebody for Kirk D's. Dimitri needs your help. DK tournaments forward, just the F position. Who we like in 4.7K or less on DK? I'll give you a second. I'll ask a question to Luch. Luch, Wayne wants to know if we love Brissett now. Indiana a little bit thin, but do we love Brissett?
I don't love him. No, I understand. I understand the play, but I'm not prioritizing him. I don't think we're gonna prioritize any of the Pacers. You guys feel the same way even after the news? Because I don't mind some shares with some Embiid runbacks, but
I don't think anybody's prioritized. I think you can play a couple guys, I suppose, but I'm probably not playing many. I don't run a ton of lineups though. What's a Devin Kennedy and why am I playing him on FanDuel tournaments? Yeah, he's the backup point on Orlando, but I think he's also the guy that would play all the minutes that Fultz doesn't play, and then maybe some more. Is that fair to say?
Probably. It's probably pretty not bad.
Yeah,
my answer to that question before for the forward would be Greg Brown.
There you go. Let's see. So pick one of these two, Kirk D's DK tournaments, Krejci for OKC or Fultz on DK. They're both 4.6K. Fultz feels like the bigger upside play.
Yeah, I think I would probably just play Fultz, but
maybe he gets loose tonight. They give him 28. I don't know. 26 is kind of getting loose. I just don't know because the slate's really good. All right. Kirk D's, is there a chance Mo Bamba jacks up 10 plus threes tonight? I suppose there's a chance.
I think there's always a chance that could happen.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
He's an extremely high variance player in general.
Greg Brown or Moses Brown for tournaments? Whoever wants that one.
I'll say Greg because of positional eligibility, but I actually prefer Moses to outscore him for sure.
The LA sitting question was actually, does LaMarcus Aldridge sit if Johnson is out? Is Aldridge? He's been DNP for a while, right? Aldridge?
Pretty sure Johnson just got ruled out. I'm pretty sure.
Is that what they're asking about? So LMA has not played since March 6th. He's been on ice. They might dust him off, but I think, Claxton is kind of interesting. If you're going to play like backup center for Brooklyn, I think Claxton is much more interesting than LMA. Not that you have to play Claxton, Kirk D's, but I think he's the better option. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Yeah. James Johnson officially ruled out. Anything else of note? We do have to step aside and make way for crunch time. If I missed any questions, All right, one more.
I think I gotta like Drummond more than I do. I think I gotta go back and reevaluate some more Drummond tonight.
He's a center, but yeah, I like him too, but I don't know. Yeah, you got to prioritize that stuff. Give me one more before we leave here. This is for the Luch, at the Luch on Twitter as of 5 minutes ago, maybe. We'll see. FanDuel tournaments, Triple J, Poku, or Şengün. Fun. Those are fun players to roster.
Arguably three of the favorites. I'm not playing Triple J at all tonight. Poku's probably safer. He's a little more expensive, but I like Poku a lot.
He's cheap though, isn't he on FanDuel?
He is. I just am not convinced that they're gonna. I don't know. They're locked into that 2 seed. I don't know. It seems like I'm just willing to get off the gas there in that spot.
Even when like he's healthy and they have incentive, they play him like 28 minutes sometimes. He stays out of foul. It's weird, but yeah,
he's literally my least favorite player to roster, and I'm trying not to be unbiased. But the fact that they're just locked into that 2 seed, I much prefer Poku. I think he's safe. It's a great matchup, right? I mean, you're on Poku tonight, Kirk, too, right?
Yeah, Poku's a great play.
I would take Poku to that bunch as well.
But I have a Triple J problem. I have a Triple J problem. I always play too much of that.
Devin's going to yank us off the air any second. Appreciate y'all watching. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on notifications. If you guys are premium members, check out rotogrinders.com. You got Andy Means, Kevin Roth, talking tonight slate. Whatever question you're not getting answered, they will happily answer it for you. That was basketball. That was Kirk Dees. That was the Luch. That was Devin. I was Dean. We're out of here. Crush tonight. Holler.